Now, I was on sitter, which is like the church nowadays, when you need to get morality, when you need to learn how to be a good, decent person, and more importantly, what to think, because thinking is very hard in 2025, so you gotta get other people that do the thinking for you in order to have the acceptable online opinions. I came across this thing. Now, this is posted by, I think, like a pro-Chinese person. Their name is Shanghai Panda, so I guess like maybe they're a shill for Chinese culture. I don't think I should call them a shill because maybe they genuinely like Chinese culture. They're not influenced by anyone to promote it. One shouldn't assume. But they got like 250,000 videos on this thing, and I think it's something interesting to explore. And the first picture that he shows, well, the first video actually, is of a very beautiful Chinese dance performance, kind of like a ballet, right? So you get to see here very interesting choreography. Um, and I'm not going to play the music because I don't know if I have copyright in order to do it. But yeah, it looks more like a ballet, basically, right? Like it looks like a sort of musical. And the person is saying that this is Chinese culture. And now he is comparing it with Taiwanese culture, right? So in the Taiwanese culture, let me just turn off the sound here. In the Taiwanese culture, we notice that there are some ladies which are dancing on a stage with a motorcycle behind them, and they're dressed in order to have a little bit more sex appeal, I suppose, right? And their dance is a lot more sensual. And I guess like the idea is that look at the degeneracy, right? Like this is how we say now problematic in 2025. Look at the degeneracy that it is on Taiwan, right? Like they're approaching civilizational collapse. Like this is the end of the Roman Empire. This is what is happening. Like when the CCP is not in charge, right? Like when women are indecent, we are reaching fast forward towards the end of civilization as we know it. And I'm really starting to wonder if this is like legitimately the mainstream opinion, because when I did a little bit of pushback, I was exposed like, no, V, your brain has rotten, right? Like a dead carcass, it has rotten on pornography. And you do not understand the world. You are not able to see the civilizational collapse that is very clear to us. And unless you have the exact same opinion, we will never be able to fix Western society because we need to fix people like you first. Like, this is kind of the pushback that I got in the comment section. And I gotta say, like, my opinion was actually pretty fucking mild. Like, I said, look, this type of show and the other type of show, both of them are appropriate. This type of show is appropriate more for middle-aged people, right? Like myself, because I gotta say, I enjoyed the performance. Like the choreography, the song, like everything like that. It's more for something that me and my wife would go and watch, right? So it's more appropriate for people that are 35-year-old and up. While this one is more appropriate for teenagers, right? Like people that are 18, they're not going to watch hags dancing, right? They're going to watch something like this. And so, like, there is something for everybody, right? Like, isn't this like the wonders of capitalism where you get like 10 or 15 different things and you get to choose? And immediately I got pressured on it, and it's like, oh, V, like, showing middle-aged women, showing their tits to teenagers. This is not where we're going with. And immediately, the people on Twitter that are burdened by morality, and to such extent that even I can't grasp it, are like, V, if your take is that it's okay for middle-aged women to dance for teenagers, that is the wrong take. And I'm like, well, hold on a little bit. Like, if you were to have young ladies, right, like the K-pop stars, dancing for 35-year-old gooners, that would also be wrong. And if you have, like, women that are, I don't even know how old these are, but I think, like, they're in their 20s, late 20s, that's also wrong, right? So, like, no type of entertainment for teenagers is allowed? Is this what you're saying? I mean, I don't get it. See, maybe it's because I grew up with MTV, and seeing this, comparing it to the stuff that I grew up with, comparing it with Shakira, I mean, hell, comparing it with what's in the United States right now. Like comparing it with people that do hip hop and what was it, wet ass pussy and that shit. Like you're telling me that this is vile? Like comparing it to what? To Eminem? Like give me a fucking break. Like none of this is edgy or over the top compared to anything that was in the 90s or 2000s or 2010. Like I honestly think that third wave feminism has completely traumatized an entire generation of Americans that think anything that has to do with the male gaze is absolutely evil. And so they need to justify it why it's evil. Like, no, I'm sorry, like this type of performance exists in Romanian right now if I open the television at 7 p.m. Like, you're going to see exactly the same, and you're going to see even more. Like, the girls in Romanians, they're dressed in bikinis on national television, and they shake their tushy. And no one has a problem with that, and Romania is a far more religious society than most states in the US. Like, the thing that I don't get is that my grandma was the one that was abhorred by this, and God rest her soul, she was like 75 years old. Like, if you're a person now that's like 30, but you're having the mentality of an Eastern European babushka, and this is enough to traumatize you, like, maybe you're the one that's having issues. Like, being old isn't just like being aged as in person, but also in the mind. And so, like, if your mind has aged to the point where you become so judgmental that you're like an old lady from Eastern Europe, just bitter, filled with resentment, the only thing you see is the collapse of civilization, doom and gloom everywhere. Like, dude, learn some stoicism then. Like, try to improve yourself. Because, like, with this type of mentality, just going online and arguing with random people on the internet who have different takes than you. Like, I'm not even joking when I'm saying it's unhealthy. Like, seriously, this is a genuine advice that I'm giving out of compassion. I'm not saying you should change your opinion on this issue. But try to have like 10 seconds to reflect your life and ask yourself, am I happy? Am I actually a happy person? If I look like this Grinch that sits on the internet and constantly calls out people when they're having fun. So like, no, like I'm not interested in this type of show. But when I was a teenager, when I was 20, when I was 18, when I was 19, yeah, like this was the stuff that I used to watch. Like, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. Again, it was on mainstream national television. Like, none of these ladies are naked. Yeah, they show a little bit of cleavage and they're a little bit titillating. So what? Like, do we need to remove sexuality from art unless it's gay? Like, if it's gay or trans people, then you have, like, the LGBT community to defend it. And you're scared of them, so you're not going to speak out. But if you have, like, just some fully clothed women doing a dance that's a little bit more provocative, like, this is enough to shock and disgust and revolt you? Like, I'm actually curious. Like, what is the line? What is the type of provocative dance that you're okay to show on national TV and you wouldn't be abhorred? Like, maybe the one with the French girls, you know, that lift their legs and kick too high up? Because that came up before my time. Like, even my grandma used to watch them. I don't know what they're called. They have a name in French, but you probably know what I mean. You know, like, they have, like, all those ladies in dresses, and they kick the feet really high in the air, showing a little bit of a panty shot. Like, that's part of French culture, right? Is that appropriate? I mean, it takes a lot of skill to kick that high, you know? And they also have to do choreography and stuff. So, like, no, like, both of these things are acceptable. It's just that you're getting old, and you're liking this. By the way, teenagers can like this as well. Like, when I was younger, I liked this as well. Like, there's no point in separating the two genres. It was like, oh, some people like classical music, other people like rock, other people like hip-hop. Why is everyone having to agree that, no, like, this music should be liked by everybody? Like, classical music is what everybody should like. It's like, no, I disagree. And again, you know, in a world where you have an OnlyFans girls that sleeps with 1,000 dudes, this is your complaint? When you can pick up any single MTV music video, just like randomly, and it will be like a lot more lewd than this. Now, one of the interesting questions that I got is like, would you be proud to see your daughter there? And you know, that's a little bit of a loaded question, because obviously, you know, there's a reason why no daughter wants their father to prom night. Like, no daughter would want their father on a date, right? So, like, there is a different type of connection between a father and a daughter. Like, obviously, the level of protectiveness is going through the roof. But my answer to that is that I hope that after my daughter would be 18, I would stop micromanaging her life and I would trust her to be like a functioning adult and make her own decisions. And yeah, if she appears on national television in a song, like, I don't know how it's like in America, but in Eastern Europe, that would be prestigious. It's like my daughter was on national television in a performance as a backup dancer or singing herself. Do you think like that would affect her job opportunity? Do you think like people wouldn't hire her? Do you think that people wouldn't date her? Like, this is not doing OnlyFans. This is not, her stripping or anything. Like, no, she's just doing a performance on live television. Like, are we getting to that level where like, I understand like there needs to be a backlash against degeneracy, but don't you think that it's going a little bit too extreme now? Don't you think like it's going a little bit too far? And so again, like, I've heard these complaints in my country, and it's usually from the older generation, which is a little bit ironic, because, like, when they were young, they enjoyed stuff like this as well, right? Like, they also went clubbing, and by the way, like, going clubbing actually means you get to see even more lewd stuff. So it's just weird, like, I don't know, is it a terminally online thing? Is it maybe people are aging too fast in the age of the internet, or maybe it's a me issue. I'm willing to accept, like, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe I'm just coming from a different place with a different morality and I just don't get it. And hopefully eventually I will, because I changed my mind on a lot of issues. I changed my mind on the gun debate. I changed my mind on several things. Maybe I'll change my mind on this. I don't know. If I turn out to be in the absolute minority, I'll be like, well, maybe there's just something wrong with me. Like, maybe I need to get re-educated. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.